Hunter!
If we go to war with Russia, our youth may have to be conscripted.
I'm sure you've seen enough jokes and videos mocking the UK if we got conscripted. So maybe it's about time for some facts. Firstly, Russia. They've got 1.3 million military troops. Britain has 190,000. Russia has a reserve military of 250,000. Britain, 37,000. Russia has 14,240 tanks. Britain has 227. Russia's military budget, 322 billion annually, whereas the UK spends 52 billion. Russia has 5,889 nuclear warheads as of 2023. Meanwhile, the UK, 260. Russia has 6,574 self-propelled artillery. Oh, and what does Britain have? Just 89. Russia's total military aircraft, 809. Britain, just 120. So instead of discussing peace with Russia, politicians are now saying young people will be asked to join the military in the war against Russia. But with clear statistics like this, why? Why would anybody want to fight on what looks like on paper the underdog's side? Now, let's look at the conscripted laws that may be introduced.
So is this just for men, right? It doesn't include women. Like, I know nowadays we're all about equality and stuff like that, but honestly, as a woman, I'm willing to take one for the team and take a step back. I'm willing to get back in the kitchen. I'll cook you guys sandwiches. I honestly make a banging salmon and cucumber sandwich for you guys.
I have seen tons of videos of women suddenly willing to drop all the rights that they fought for as they don't want to join the army. Currently, the UK army is 11% women. And why is that? Is it because women are scared to fight or women are scared of war? Of course it is! But no more than it is for men. However, one of the real reasons why there are less women in the army is because even though all roles in the army are open to women, the prevailing culture within the army still keeps women from accessing equal opportunities. And then on top of that, we have outdated traditions that lead us to believe men fight wars. Men are the strong ones. And women, they're delicate little flowers that must stay at home and look after the kids. Women fought for equal rights. We live in a day and age where sex and gender do not come into play. I'm glad we're equals. I'm glad that legally we have equal opportunities. Unfortunately, that means that when one rule applies to one, it also applies to both.
Young British men could possibly face being conscripted into the British military.
There's a lot of us British people. It's looking like we're going to be conscripted into the army.
That the head of the British Army warned that Brits may have to be called up to fight if we go to war with Russia.
But the real question is, what would it mean if we was all conscripted? So, I don't actually know. We live in a day and age where not just men are sent off to fight. And I know everybody is scared that they might be conscripted. But that's not all I'm worried about. I'm worried about how the UK's going to function. Back in the day, men went to war, women stayed at home. Now, me and my wife, we're both of conscription age. And if we had kids together, who stays at home to look after them? And if one of us got to stay at home, which one? Will it be the woman? Because that's not very equal rights like. Also, nowadays, you need 2 full-time incomes to support a household. Who's going to pay the bills if less money is coming in? And let's also look at some of the types of people we have in this generation. Now, I'm not being mean, but me and this generation are a lot more weak. We are not built for war. We're playing Minecraft and building Legos. We're getting dressed up as furries and making videos of ourselves being NPCs. We've got people who aren't sure what gender they are, and then others who get offended by the dumbest things. Our country has allowed us to become weak creatures so that we could be moulded into living the life that they designed. They never prepared us for war. Look at COVID, for example. What a show that was. Now imagine the same, but the government preparing for war. Conscription in this day and age isn't going to work. I was built to feel safe and protected, and that also made me soft. And I'm not just talking about me being soft.
Hold up! Hold up! Motherfuckers in the UK are getting drafted. Please, for the love of God, let this be a joke.
Let's talk about the types of men that would have been drafted back in the day, vis now. Back in the day when men were conscripted, They were real men, brought up in hard times. You know, you had your blacksmiths, your masons, your dock workers, your miners, your loggers, your quarry workers, your construction workers, and your factory workers. All jobs that were men orientated. They kept the men manly and they kept the women at home safe, looking after the house and the children. Nowadays, anyone could be anything. Men and women have equal rights, rightfully, and many new professions have come into being. For example, the millions like me who spend their days filming and editing videos. What war skills do we possess? And then you've got other modern professions like graphic designers, virtual reality developers, bloggers, esports players, streamers, wedding planners, professional mermaids, tea leaf readers, and professional cosplayers. What good are any of these people going to be in war? How has any of their professional lives prepared them to survive in battle? And don't give me all that streamers play Call of Duty bullshit. I play Call of Duty. And in real life, if I saw the glare from a sniper, I wouldn't be trying to sneak up from behind them. No! I'd be hiding like a puppy who's just been told off for being on the bed. This generation of people cannot go and fight in a war. I'm sorry to say, but it just can't happen. Anyways, I guess the last thing to talk about is how you get out of it.
I don't know why the girlies are stressed about getting drafted because we're all medically exempt. Like, I don't know any girl that would not have a doctor's note that could get out of it. Like gut problems or mental illness would be medical exemptions, because how the fuck are you going to drive a tank into war and then have an IBS flared up? Like, you're not going to be able to do that.
Can you be exempt from being conscripted? Simple answer, yes. Yes, you can. Based on previous conscriptions introduced in previous wars, there were many ways to avoid being dragged into the battlefield. Firstly, and the most obvious, health. People who had serious physical disabilities, chronic health conditions, mental health disorders, hearing and visual impairments, heart conditions, respiratory disorders, severe allergies, certain neurological disorders, infectious diseases, substance abuse disorders, etc., were all exempt from having to be conscripted. Which means for myself, somebody who has been diagnosed with depression, anxiety, chronic neck pain, serious back pain, and is legally blind without the use of contact lenses or glasses, should fall into being exempt. Maybe. But it wasn't just medical stuff that people could get out of it with, because you could also get out of it with consensual objection. Individuals with a moral or religious belief against participating in armed conflict may be able to apply for a consensuous objector status. But that doesn't mean that they're necessarily guaranteed exemption, but may result in an alternative non-combat role. And then we've got dependency on family. If you're the sole breadwinner or the primary caregiver for a dependent, it might be a reason for exemption or deferment. Education. Full-time students may be granted deferments to complete their studies before being required to serve. Marital status. Married individuals, particularly those with children, may be given deferments or exemptions. And lastly, we have dual nationality. In some cases, individuals with dual nationalities may have options or restrictions related to military service. However, it's 2023. I'm sure our government has come up with as many rules as possible to make sure as many people have to join as possible.